Do you think power armor could ever be viable, even if we had the technology to power it? Gasoline? Yes, but I think it's been preemptively overrated, and that it wouldn't be the massive game changer it's often touted as. Just something to carry the weight of your pack and give you frag protection to extremities is enough. But nerds always try to turn it into some bulky anime shit that can shrug off tank rounds, and the discussion just strays into fantasy too easily. Like the Humvee GPK turret is over 500 pounds on its own, is only rated against AK rounds, and that's a much more efficient shape than something human and form-fitting. For power armor to be any more survivable than that, it would quickly scale to being too massive and heavy to be useful in the infantry role, unable to enter buildings without falling through floors, etc. But nerds always try to turn it into some bulky anime shit that can shrug off tank rounds. What I've heard is that with high power rounds, even if the plating doesn't fail, the kinetic energy will still liquefy your organs. That's why I made this thread. Even if they could give soldiers full tungsten armor, wouldn't enemy armies just start using more powerful rounds and render the armor useless? What I've heard is that with high power rounds, even if the plating doesn't fail, the kinetic energy will still liquefy your organs. This is not true, depending on what you mean by high power rounds. That's why I made this thread. Even if they could give soldiers full tungsten armor, wouldn't enemy armies just start using more powerful rounds and render the armor useless? It still increases chance of survival regardless. Most deaths are not caused by rifle fire in most conflicts. No, because even if we had the technology to make it work, we could make much better drones / robots / droids, or whatever you want to call them, by removing the human from the vehicle. What about AI-assisted soldiers? Could we see that in the future? I kinda want to make a thread about just that. AI-assisted? Absolutely. Kino. Can she use the Mjolnir's autojacker to keep me perked up during combat? Asking for a friend. ACU Digicam forever. The best camo pattern ever in the future for us all. Everything is viable when it's cost effective. Yes, very much so. The top brass is always trying to find more ways to stack more weight on the infantryman's back. So, once the power supply miniaturization issues are solved, this thing will essentially become their wet dream. The only scenario in where power armor would be used is as SWAT / police anti-riot armor. You have a group of manifestants / terrorists bunkered in a building? Send the power RoboCop. No high-power bullets, no anti-tank rounds, probably some improvised explosives. Another one would be in construction, but that one will be slow as hell due to regulations. This guy guards the door to the CIF on Belvoir nowadays. I always gave him a fist bump when I had to go in. 5 years left till it becomes reality. I hope so. If I'm gonna get vaporized by a nuke in World War III, I'd at least like to do it in some badass looking armor. Power source has never been the big blocker. We already get good results for now. The two main blockers are physiology. You need a design you can adapt to a wide variety of soldiers. It's not clothes that loosely hang on your body. It has to be a structural exoskeleton that can support at least itself. Man-machine interface. It's hard to make a machine read what the operator wants to do and do the action fast enough to overcome the latency. Even if we reached a point where the exo-arms move faster than the operator, the problem would become to not harm the operator by accident, which was the problem with the first ever exoskeleton. Not talking about Pick. Also, it's likely to be more useful for logistics and combat engineers than as a combat armor, or only to carry the extra equipment that let operators order plenty of drones around. It's hard to make a machine read what the operator wants to do and do the action fast enough to overcome the latency. Neuralink?